All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rachaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To you I say shalom. This is the brother Yeshaya coming at you again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And this is going to be entitled Yasharahla's Adversary. And you know who I'm talking about. You know, Esau, Edom, the devil that the Bible speaks of, right? This man, when you go into the word adversary, in the scriptures, that's the word for Satan, right? And this man has been the main adversary, the main antagonist that 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 Israel has been facing throughout since the beginning. since the beginning. Now, this man has gone out to do the bidding of Satan, right? As we're going to go into, this man. When the scriptures talk about, the three classifications of men, you have the sons of God, you have the sons of men, right, which are the nations, and then you have the sons of the wicked, right, which is Esau, Edom. See, but this man has been given authority, or I should say power over the earth, for a season. And we're seeing that through this time that he has been allowed permission to rule or have power. Um, this man has used this time to oppress and destroy the nation of Israel, man. Now we understand this is all judgment. This is all part of the curses that fell upon us. But it's important to understand uh, that this man's purpose, Esau Edom's purpose, and this is to you jakes out there that believe Esau's your friend. Esau, you know, uh, uh, is not like his forefathers. He's a good guy now, right? He changed his ways, but the scriptures say, can the leopard change his spots, right? Or the Ethiopian skin? Also says, can one do good as accustomed to do evil? Another scripture that goes into how uh, can one make straight what the Most High made crooked, right? So you gotta understand, and this is for you jakes, that believe that Esau's your friend and everything. This man was created to be your enemy. This man was created to be that adversary here on the planet Earth, right? And we're gonna go into it here in this lesson. Lord willing, this be edifying. So I'm gonna start off with Revelation 20 and verse 1, and it says, "And I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand." Right. So this is going into um, uh, the time period where Esau, after the pagan Roman Empire, you know, was taken down, how Esau would go into a state of uh, pretty much being abased, being a caveman, being, without that power that he once had when he was the Romans, right? That influence, the ability to deceive the nations, all that, would be stripped away from him, to where everything that he did was not allowed to prosper, to the point where he would actually be pushed out into, you know, uh, 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 the outskirts of civilization, and he would be known as the cavemen or wild men throughout history, right? But anyway, going back, uh, going back to Revelation 20 in verse 2, it says, "And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent," right? Which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So that dragon represents Esau, right? The dragon going into the Roman Empire. You see, it says that old serpent because Um, um, this is all going back to the garden, right? The Garden of Eden. You see, so even all the way back then, that serpent, which wasn't an animal, it was a man, right, or a people, right? But when you go into that word serpent, it goes into napash, which is an enchanter. So this is a person or a group of people that were practicing divination, practicing sorcery, enchantments, right? And this is all referring to him, to this man, Esau, Edom. That same spirit that was in the serpent came back again through Cain, and then you know uh, after that lineage was destroyed, it came back through Esau, right? Because that mark of Cain was bestowed uh, also upon Esau, which is leprosy, right? The lack of pigmentation. But anyway, it says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, which devil goes into uh, um, deceiver, but also slanderer, right? Which that's what this man is doing, false accusing, right? Scriptures talk about how um, the false accuser shall be cast down, right? That false accuser being Esau, and that's exactly what he does. He brings up false accusations before the world of the saints of the Lord, but not even just before the world, but also before the Most High, you know, because he has his left hand priest, trying to communicate with the Lord, and pretty much putting up, cases before the Lord of the state of his people, right? The state of the nation of Israel. But anyway, it says, and he laid hold on the dragon. Read it back again. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, because when you go into the word Satan, it goes into adversary. Let me see if this one has it. Satan, Satanas, right? And it says adversary, one who opposes another in act, or so like in purpose or act, right? So the spiritual demon Satan, he pretty much is our opposition. That's the spiritual demon Satan, but he also has a physical counterpart who is Esau Edom, who acts as that same opposition, who does the bidding of Satan here on the planet Earth, right? Now let's touch on that a little bit. Let's go to Second Thessalonians 2:9. It says, even him, I'll start at verse 8. It says, and then that wicked shall be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him, right, the wicked, Esau Edom, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. So he's coming to do the bidding of Satan, right? Coming, let me look at the word coming. Presence, the coming, arrival, advent, the future visible return from heaven. Let me see. It says coming to be near, right? That's what this man is near. He's near. He's near Satan. He communicates with Satan. These top elite, best believe they have a direct line with Satan. It says advent, often returned. It says by implication, physically, aspect, coming presence. But anyway, again, like I said, this man is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. And like it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, right? Because the power that he's got, of course, it was given unto him, ultimately from the Lord, but the power that he's using, comes from the spiritual demon Satan, right? That's what this man has to tap into, the negative energies. He has to tap into black magic and sorcery and witchcraft, because his power relies on Satan. You know, because without that he wouldn't have no power, right? But this is why the apostles always say this man's in a trick bag, because he doesn't understand. Esau fails to understand that Satan works for the Lord, right? And you can read that in the book of Job, right? Um, Let me see, verse 10, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved, right? Because what Esau is going to try to do, he's going to come with all manner of deception, all manner of lies and trickery, enchantments, right? Why? To try to sway people to follow his narrative, and ultimately, this is all to usher in his NWO, right? To where everybody's gonna be required to have an implantable device. But in order for him to reach to that point, he's gonna have to come with all these, you know, lying wonders, right? Pretty much deceive the masses into fall into this NWO that he's setting up, right? And those that do get deceived and fall into that into those snares and lies, ultimately is because they didn't believe in the truth, because the truth is out here. So if you don't believe in the truth now, you know, uh, uh, if you don't believe in the truth, you're not gonna have the wherewithal to be able to understand that this MOTB, or the RFID CIP is the MOTB, and that if you take it, ultimately you're gonna be destroyed. You're gonna make yourself an enemy of the Lord Yahweh Shah when He returns. You see, and that's the lie, or or the part that Esau is omitting. He's not letting you know. Just like whenever he told Eve in the garden, you shall not surely die. He lied to her, right? The same way Esau is doing the same thing now. He's lying to the masses, telling you this is the way. This is better. This is for your betterment. This is convenient. This is for what do you say, for convenience. This is for, what I'm saying, for security, but not letting on the back end, that if you take this, you ultimately taking the mark of the beast. You see, and making you pretty much severing your connection from the Lord, right? But anyway, like I said, and again, this is all tying into my point. How this man, is our main adversary, man. He's the spiritual demon Satan, or I mean, he's the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan here on the planet Earth, man. Now let me get this. This is a revelation, because even in his spirit, he's completely adverse to the Lord. He's adverse to us, right? But this is a Revelation 6:4. It says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Right? So his mindset is to bring chaos, to bring disorder, right? To bring death, destruction, right? Now in our kingdom, whenever we're in power, we're gonna bring harmony, we're gonna be balanced, we're gonna bring life, we're gonna bring peace, right? So in this fashion, we see that this man is adverse to our ways. Now, I want to go back to Second Thessalonians, because I wanted to read more up. So this is Second Thessalonians 2 and verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, right? Esau Edom, he's that man. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High. You see, so this man is in direct opposition to the Lord. He's the adversary, man. who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High. This man is adverse to all the ways of righteousness. You see, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. So his God complex is making him want to seek that title of being a God, of being, all knowing, all seeing, right? But his ways are adverse. His ways are in direct opposition to the Lord's ways, right? Which is why, whenever we see Esau, everything that he does, and that's in everything that he does. There's always some lies behind it. There's always some wickedness going on. You know what I'm saying? There's always some secrets and shit, right? As we see now with this whole, Epstein scandal and shit, right? And there's more that's gonna come out. There's a lot more. The rabbit hole runs deep when it comes to Esau. His laundry list, his dirty laundry. It's practically almost unlimited of the shit that we don't fucking know, right? But anyway, let me see. Did I read this? Yeah. Okay. Let's go to from here. Let's go to Amos 1. Amos 1 and verse 11. Just going into how this man has been a damn demon unto us, right? This is Amos 1 and verse 11. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. Right. So, as far as Edom, the nation of Edom, we understand that, the that the spirit that was in the serpent, went to Cain, and then Cain and his sons, that same spirit was on them, but now since they were destroyed, that same spirit came back through the Edomites. But in this current time with the Edomites, right, uh, 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 this whole hatred that he has towards our people, and of him being, our main adversary, this all stemmed from Jacob and Esau, man. And he couldn't, his hatred, he kept it so long, he kept it uh, um, forever, like as the scripture says. He kept it to where uh, uh, descendants under him, carried on that hatred, man. Right? Now we understand this is all the spirit of the Lord, though. At the end of the day, you know. Let's get another one real quick. Then I'm gonna get what I want to get. Ezekiel 35. Well, I mean, I do want to get this, but I just want to go in order. This is Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. You see? So that perpetual hatred pretty much tore at him, man, to where he couldn't resist but to shed the blood of the saints, to shed the blood of the nation of Israel. He enjoyed that, man. He enjoyed that entire process. You see? Let me see. Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Seeth thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right? Let me see. Let's get Daniel, because like we're going into, this man has been the main antagonist for our people, man. Because you had, from the time that we escaped, we exodus, we how do you even say it? I guess you could say exited out of Egypt, the first exodus. Who were the first ones to come and attack us? Amalek, right? Whenever we try to cross through Esau's borders, he wouldn't allow us. Whenever um uh the Greek or even to the time of Esther, right? With what's his name? Haman, I think that was his name. That Edomite. He tried to kill off, the nation of Israel. You had um during the Babylonian captivity, right? They said race it. They're pretty much saying destroy it, right? They were cheering on the destruction of Jerusalem, the destruction of our cities. You see, they were partakers of it too. Um, During the Greeks, right? They were the Greeks. You can read about that in the book of First Maccabees, Second Maccabees, all the atrocities and the wickedness that they did to our people. The Romans, they were the Romans as well. You see, they persecuted the prophets. They called 70 AD, right? So it's a whole slew of history, man, going into how this man has just been a damn devil, man. This man has been the main enemy of the nation of Israel, right? Our adversary, as I entitled it. Now, let's see, Daniel 7:25, it says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High." Right? And how's that happening? Happening right now through systematic oppression, pollution in your foods, your clothing, your water, your air, right? The lies and deception that has been promoted, the wickedness that continues to be promoted amongst, you know, the the communities among Jake, right? Making Jake the face of wickedness, making Jake the face of evil, bringing out false accusations. You name it, man. The list goes on and on, man. But anyway, it says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand into a time and times and dividing a time." So there's going to be only a short period of time, and we're reaching that end right now. That period of time of us being under this man's thumb, this man's foot, all that is coming to an end. With the return of the Lord Yahushua, that's going to mark the end of us, you know, uh, pretty much being at the mercy of this man, right? Now, I want to close it off with this last one. Sirach 33 and verse 10. It says, "And all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth. In much knowledge the Lord hath thy Salakia." Let me read this back. Verse 11. "In much knowledge the Lord hath divided them, and made their ways diverse." Right? So he separated the nations. Verse 12. "Some of them hath he blessed and exalted, some of them he sanctified, and set them near himself. But some of them hath he cursed and brought low, and turned out their places." Right? So it's giving you the distinction between those who he's chosen and those who he hasn't. Verse 13, which we understand he chosen uh, the nation of Israel. Right? The scriptures say uh, the Lord will yet choose Israel, man. Right? But verse 13, it says, "As the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him, to render to them as liketh him best." So this is all the will of the Heavenly Father. He chooses what he wants for you, well, how your story is going to play out, right? What your lot is going to be. Verse 14, "The Most High is set against evil," or Salakia, Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. You see? Verse 15. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. You see? So the Most High works in with balance, right? Without good, you can't have evil. Without evil, you can't have good. So you're going to have that balance. The Most High created this man, but we seeing that this man's wickedness is getting out of hand. So balance has to be restored on the planet Earth. But in the kingdom of heaven, there's going to be no need for this man no more, right? Of course, he's going to serve out his 1,000 years of captivity, but after that, there's going to be no need for this man, because this man his purpose was to deceive the nations, to come out here and bring hell upon the tribes, to be the adversary of the nation of Israel on the planet Earth. But now there's going to be no need for that. His purpose is going to be fulfilled. Is it? You know what I'm saying? This man, after that 1,000 year period, this man's going to be extinct. Because why? Because we're going to be one with the Lord. The spiritual demon Satan is going to be working, for us, right? We're going to be judging angels in the kingdom of heaven. You see? So Esau, is again, he's going to serve no purpose on the earth after that 1,000 year period, right? But anyway, that was pretty much it. I pray the lesson was edifying. I'm gonna go ahead and close it out by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Until the next time, I'm gonna say Shalom, Kwame Yasharahla.